When you go to a protest, it's kind of like being at a rock concert. The adrenaline is unbelievable.
Get on the ground now! I didn't even do anything.
We thought it was like the beginning of Nazi Germany again, and Victoria Police were the Gestapo. I truly believe that we're headed towards a police state.
How does believing that make you feel?
Well, stressed, but you believe all this conspiracies, you sort of think, oh, what would the Anzacs do and stuff, which is absolutely appalling. Like, when I think back on that, I'm disgusted that I would ever compare myself to any veterans. It's like you're in a war.
It's a crazy concept, but one Ash says she truly believed in because at the time, she had nothing else to believe in. She'd lost her job, her freedom, and over time, her will to live. How lonely would you say you were feeling at the time?
At points, probably suicidal.
Ash supported lockdowns at first, but confronted with a tidal wave of misinformation online, she quickly changed her mind.
I was sitting there 16 hours a day, just on the internet, doing my own research, and I started really believing it. 16
hours is a lot. Like, that doesn't leave much time for sleep.
No. At the time, I just thought, I'm fighting for the freedom of Australia. They said I was under arrest for hindering police because I wanted to walk through the Oval.
Ash created an anti-police booklet and became a familiar face of protests. She even tried to turn the tables on the law.
She is going to attempt to make a citizen's arrest, apparently, and they're now arresting her. How ridiculous.
Ash, who is transgender, says being part of the freedom movement made her feel accepted. What did you like about these people?
There is a lot of love in that community, a lot of misinformation, of course, which I didn't realise at the time. I just like people coming up to me, giving me hugs and adding me on Facebook. And
felt like you were home?
I felt like I was important. But when you're reading that much information and you're at the protests calling police every name in and you're barricading your door because you think the police and ASIO and are after you, it becomes stressful and it just consumes your whole life in a very unhealthy way.
Ash says her family didn't support her views, so she cut ties with them. She saw the other protesters as her brothers and sisters until they abandoned her one day.
The police, say, 100 metres away, walking towards us. I go, OK, no, we're going to stand our ground. What they're doing isn't ethical, and I'm like marching with my flag and I turn around and they've all buggered off.
All the other protesters?
Yeah, including one of the leaders.
Ash decided to cooperate with police. They didn't arrest her, just told her to go home.
The police rock up at my door a few days later, 6 of them. Normally I'd get up and go, F off this, and slam the door and stuff, and I kind of gave it up. They were treating me very well, and they're like, we've got families too, and we don't necessarily want to be at the protest, but that's our job as law enforcement.
Over the following weeks, police dropped over to Ash's place a few times.
I was blown away that they come just to check up on me. These people are kind of treating me better than some of the leaders of the protest movement did.
Ash says the fog around her head began to clear. Her feelings changed from anger to guilt.
I consider myself that I was brainwashed, but a lot of that was also my own fault too. The way I treated authorities and things that I wrote on the internet, I feel really ashamed, and I want to put this part of my life to bed.
Since she's left the movement, Ash has reconciled with her family, been vaccinated, and started a master's degree in music, her true passion. But putting this chapter of her life behind her hasn't been easy. Ash says she's received death threats from protesters. Do you feel scared?
I feel cautious, not scared. So I'm more concerned for my family. So,
in what way?
I hope they don't, take it out on them in any way. I'm owning this. This is my mistake, and part of me is glad I went through it, because I probably would have necked myself if I didn't find some sort of community. But yeah, there's just so much shame involved. I find it hard to smile, to be honest.
Do you think you'll ever be able to forgive yourself or move past that feeling of shame?
Yeah, things are looking more positive for me.
Okay.
As much as I know what the protesters are doing is not 100% right, I still care about some of them, you know.
Niggas are running at bullets at Gallipoli! Grenades are wearing face napping!
Do you think that those of us in society looking at the protesters and kind of being really dismissive and scornful of them, do you think we're making a mistake?
Yeah, I think there needs to be a little bit more understanding that they're human beings. Right or wrong, that's what they believe, and they deserve a little bit more compassion, I'd say.
Gosh, that desire to be connected and to be part of something is such a strong desire. And you can see how quickly it happens. You think of your own phone, how quickly the algorithm changes, and then you start getting fed all the same information, and before you know it, that is the truth, that your truth, because you're not seeing anything else.
So it was a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
It's extraordinary how fast that happens.
I've heard that a lot about the idea that it's like going to a rock concert. Or like, I've been looking at the Canberra convoy, and that feels like a festival almost. Like they're sharing food, they're taking care of each other, they're singing songs together. There's just this other side to it that's that most of us don't understand.
Yeah, and I feel that the point that's so important is the point at the end about listening to each other. And I think when you stand and yell at people, either way, no one's going to take being yelled at and say, yeah, good point. Yeah. So it's a matter of listening to each other.
She wasn't argued out of it.
No.
It was people treating
she just wanted people to listen to each other.
Yeah.
And if you do find yourself in need of help for any reason, crisis support is available 24/7 through Lifeline on 13 11 14.